the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, yes, that Jeffrey Epstein, whose name is Mark Epstein, went on Piers Morgan's show. Hang on. In this case, to hang up. And
Crock of shit.
And Mark Epstein did that. He hung up because Piers Morgan correctly asked him about, do you care about the victims of your brother's abuses? Can I ask you? And Mark Epstein will do all these interviews being like, yeah, let me tell you about my brother. And then now apparently he's fed up getting asked about his brother. Hey, there's just certain people in history where if you're their family and you go do public interviews, you're gonna be asked. Okay, this is just, sorry, it's one of those things about family. You can't go on and be like, oh, I just wanted to talk about my studies of architecture in ancient civilizations. Piers, why aren't you interviewing me about that? Or whatever it is that he'd prefer to talk about. So let's watch this. He ended up just hanging up on Piers Morgan. And it's like, what did you think Piers Morgan was going to ask you about?
What is life for you like as the brother of perhaps the most notorious person in America?
Well, my life is fine. I'm just getting a lot more calls from journalists and ask for, these kind of interviews. And I've told people I only talk about Jeffrey's death because I found that when I answer questions about anything else in the files, whatever I say gets misconstrued to fit somebody's agenda. So I no longer answer questions about the things in the files, which I really, to be honest, don't care about. I wasn't part of any of that. I'm not named in anything. And, and if anyone's in the files or something that's supposed to be getting into trouble for something, I have nothing to do with that. That's their problem, not mine. I don't want to be cold about it, but I have my own life. Look, trust me, it would have been a lot easier for me if I thought Jeffrey committed suicide. I could have then, mourned my brother and went on with my life. But instead, I'm
right, but when you say
just the quickest pause to request that you click the subscribe button, the simplest, easiest, freest way, completely free, to support the work that we do. Right below the video, click that subscribe button. Back to the video.
Yeah, sure. But when you say you don't care about the...
Yeah, what would this might seem crass. What would the mourning process look like for Jeffrey Epstein? Hi, welcome to his funeral. We do have an open casket, but be warned, he does look like a massive gorilla grabbed him and swung him around by his head until every bone in his neck was broken. So just be cautious of that, but just a beautiful, beautiful man, And one of the things I learned from him was never give like what? Never give up. Like what do you mean mourning? Oh, but he's my brother. Shut up. Shut up, Mark. Sorry. I'm sorry this happened to you, maybe. I think you knew more than you're saying, too, so we're about to see that when he hangs up. What, Mark? You gonna mourn him? You want his ashes on your mantle? For what? So you can remember his sick life? Oh, let me mourn. Well, then go mourn. Stop doing interviews. But I need to get justice for Jeffrey. Hey, how about justice for the survivors? Hang up. Which is what happens.
Yeah, sure. But when you say you don't care about the files, I mean, I presume you mean because you're not directly accused of wrongdoing in them, which is completely correct, and you shouldn't have to justify something that doesn't involve you. However, your brother is obviously, there's so much stuff in these files which exposes him as an appalling human being. My question for you would be, how much of this is new to you? I mean, do you even recognize
like I said, a lot
what you're seeing from your brother?
Hey, it's new, but Piers, he taught me how to ride a bike. Man, we never even talked about that. He was such a good older brother.
Jeffrey and I were not, I didn't see him for 7 years before he died, although we were always in communication with phones and emails. So I didn't know what he was up to. A lot of the stuff that's come out is surprising to me. I wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to say, like, with him, even though he's my brother, that was his problem. And now that he's dead, it's not his problem anymore. So again, unfortunately, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I'm just concerned that my brother, whoever and whatever he was murdered.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a little bit more. What did you mean by he's dead now, so it's not his problem? You think I'm being insensitive? It's like the Bill Gates.
He's dead, so
there it is. He's dead now, so it's not his problem. I guess that's one way to look at it. But how about it's our problem? Let me put it this way: why I am so hostile towards Mark, and then we'll watch this last aspect. Number one, he goes around talking like he knows stuff, but then if you ask him, what did you know and why didn't you sound the alarm? He's like, oh no, I barely knew the guy. Him and Trump are both like, Jeffrey? Jeff? I don't know any Jeffs. That's so weird. Whenever in certain kind of, and sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I knew he had this on this person, or, I know that the murder or the death or whatever, suicide was not a suicide. But then that's one aspect of it. The other is if I found out and I really was shocked, number one, I would know if my brother was doing stuff like that because I'm close with him and I would find out. And then I would seek accountability. And if I somehow didn't know and I found out something like that about my brother, I'd have to dedicate my life to getting justice for the victims of my brother's abuses. Right? Just the fact that he was my brother would make me feel like I have extra obligation to seek justice for the victims. That's why I'm so hostile towards Mark.
That's my concern.
But you care about the victims, I presume, of your brother.
These are the questions I don't get into. So have a good day.
Okay. Well, extraordinary. Not a difficult question to answer.
Not at all. Now, this is one thing that makes me uncomfortable. In the last 2 weeks, 2 people have stormed off of Piers Morgan's show. Mark Epstein and Luke Beasley. And I don't love that that's a category. 2 people have caused Piers to go, oh, they're gone. Luke's gone, or Mark's gone. I don't love that I'm in that same sentence. But it's true. It is a true story. So that's odd.
I'm mocking you right now.
You're so angry that he would ask you about the victims. You called into the show, Bubs. You called in to say it wasn't a suicide. Hey, we heard from you. We know. We know you believe that. What are you bringing insight about? Nothing. So of course you're going to get asked about the broader release, what we're finding out, how that makes you feel. And if you don't want to do that, don't call into the show. But then hanging up like a petulant child is gross because you aren't willing to just go, of course I want justice for the victims. Of course I'm horrified by what I'm learning. But you know the vibe I get from him? I get a similar vibe as when you see Ghislaine Maxwell being like, no, I don't remember Jeffrey ever associating with underage girls. No, never. Oh. Or did you ever have an underage girl give him an inappropriate massage? And Ghislaine's like, what is this word massage? Is it like message? What massage? What is this? Mark does, I guess, a similar thing where like he doesn't want to admit the extent of what his brother was. Now, speaking of, you have, as we discussed yesterday, what appears to be another element of a cover-up where documentation relating to allegations against Trump himself in the files have vanished, as MS Now reports.
Lisa, you got this reporting. Walk us through it.
Well, Anna, one of the things I can tell you is that based on documents that are available in the Epstein files, and we're just going to hold up to you what allowed us to get to this reporting. This is an index of witness statements from people who were not expected to testify at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, but whose statements were nonetheless produced to her defense counsel in the run-up to her 2021 trial. We also have a smaller one with respect to those who were expected to testify. And based on those indices, as well as documents available in the file, MS Now can report that there is at least one witness for whom 3 interviews with the FBI in rapid succession in 2019 are missing. You might say, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal about that is that we can also confirm that that woman is the same person who in a 2025 FBI presentation is identified to have accused Donald Trump of a sexual assault when she was between 13 and 15 years old. We know that based on a human source who has confirmed to us that this woman is one and the same. So I want to make this very clear. There is a woman who, according to the FBI and documents compiled last summer, accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting and physically abusing her. One of the things in her accusation is that in addition to forcing her to perform oral sex, he also hit her in that same episode. We have now connected that woman to someone who was interviewed by the FBI 4 times in 2019. Of those 4 interview memoranda, which are listed in this index that I'm holding up right here, only one of them can be seen. And in that interview, the accusations against Trump are not present. At the most, she says that she had met Trump on one occasion without detailing it. And when asked how she understood that Epstein was a person who committed abuse against her, she showed FBI agents a picture that she had been sent by a friend. It was a picture that she was reluctant to share with FBI agents because there was somebody else in the photograph. It turned out to be, according to this interview memo, a well-known photograph of Epstein and Trump together. She said that she was reluctant to show them the full image, lest she incriminate someone that she feared could retaliate against her. That's all that we know from what's publicly available in the files. But we know that this woman had other accusations against Trump. Where they are listed or where they've been memorialized, we're not sure, but we can tell you and our viewers that there are 3 other interview memoranda taken by the FBI that are not present anywhere in the
They've been scrubbed. They've been scrubbed. Why? Why? If they're so bogus, why? And also, I ask again, if this is like, I don't know, some random crazy person who's saying random stuff and for some reason wants to risk lying to the FBI, why did they do 4 interviews? That's just, it's notable. It's very notable. And then it's notable that it's seemingly getting covered up.